Heyo. So this is another video that's going to cover a homebrew item that I made, just help spread awareness of it so people can use it if they want. Um, and if you do, and like the others, if you do use it, just let me know so I can get information out of it, and so I can correct some things, or um, and I can get people opinions on them and just see what people think of it. um, so let's get right to it, yeah. So this is the Mountain King. It's a fighter archetype that I made. Um, to give you some information on it, they are warriors that believe the material plane is kind of the pillar, like the heart of creation of all the of of everything. They believe that if it's destroyed, that uh the all of creation will just kind of like crumble and just fall into disarray. Um, so through great study and training and hard work, they develop techniques to help them harness the very earth itself to help fight against any threat they deem worthy. Um, they fight any foe that they think is a threat to the earth and the material plane. Um, so they start off getting something called material bond. Um, they get to level 3, and this will allow them to make wisdom and intelligence checks with proficiency when determining the quality of metals, stones, and other earth-based objects, including any magical properties that they might have. So if it's an earth-based thing, like for example, if it's like a structure or like if you find ore by chance or something like that, um, they will have a benefit with they'll have a benefit for it. Um, to give you now looking at it as a third perspective, I do think this is kind of broad, but we'll see. I don't think it's that big of a deal. And of course, the DM can make it a little bit higher if they want. The DC is, we left it to the DC is determined by the DM. So if they do this, they could just have it a little bit higher DC if they want. I don't know. I don't think it's a big deal. Um, we'll see what people think. Um, the next one they get, this is the big thing that they get at level 3. It's called Volcanic Blow. When they make a attack action on your turn, you make an attack action, they can replace one of your attacks to strike the earth, the ground, make rivets of lava to spew up in a 10-foot radius around you. Each creature in that area must make a dexterity saving throw or be knocked prone to take 2d8 fire damage. Um, that area is then becomes difficult terrain, and any creature that ends their turn there will take fire damage equal to your proficiency bonus. Um, you can use it. You can use it twice. You first get it, and then upgrades at 7, 10, and 15. Um, I do notice that I didn't really put um how long the difficult terrain is. I might add it a little bit later. So if you do see this, there might be a time limit on how long the difficult terrain is there. We'll see. I don't know just yet. Um, although it's not a big deal. Like it's kind of a minor annoyance. You can put I think that it's not a big deal if the DM thinks there should be a time limit on how long it's around there. But again, well, I'll see. I might add one a little bit later. Um, I don't think the damage is too crazy. I think the damage is nice. I think the main focus is the area control that it offers. Um, and I did play test this a little bit, and I will say the damage is nice. And I even tested it at like level 18 or something. The damage is it's nice, but like I said, the main draw to it is the area control and denial that it offers. Because like I said, this offers they do fire damage when they're in there, and the area is now difficult terrain. Even and I didn't really notice. We kind of and it's one of those things that the difficult terrain you can it's not a big deal, you know. Um, so even if there is no time limit, for example, I don't think it's well, generally not a big deal. I think when in our play test anyway. Um, at the 7th level, Terramail. As a bonus action, you can make a layer of stone to cover you. This will grant you resistance to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. You can use it number of times equal to proficiency bonus, and you gain all uses on the long rest. Um, this this is kind of nice. It's kind of like barbarians. It's kind of like I think it's like a lesser version of barbarians. They get, I think they just get a straight damage resistance to bludgeoning naturally, just a straight up damage resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing. This is just non magical, so I don't think it really steps on toes the barbarian's toes at all. Um, I don't think it steps on their toes at all. Um, so I don't think the barbarians will really should get too mad about that. And it gives them a little bit more durability, I think. Um, later levels, if you're fighting like more humanoids or whatever, it might become less valuable because it's non-magical and they might have magic items. But it's a small a little bonus, I think, a little defensive thing. And since they're going to be all earth and mountainy type themed here, they more durable is not a bad thing to have. This other thing, it's a minor thing. I don't think it's a big deal at all. I kind of advocated for it when I was working with the other person. I kind of advocated for it um because I think they needed a little bit like a long range thing, and they need often fighters unless they specifically peck around a ranged unless they specific if they're let me rephrase this. If most fighters unless they specifically carry around a ranged weapon they can either throw um or shoot, they probably won't have anything long ranged. You know, that sounds redundant in my head, but there's many in my fighter when I was playing this, my fighter often didn't have anything to throw because he was strength based. Um so he didn't really have anything. He might have a javelin he could throw, but you know, unless he had returning on it or something, he can only do that number of times. So I threw this in here. The damage, it's not any different than a longbow. Longbow is D8. I think it's D8 plus uh what D8 plus dex or whatever or strength or whatever. It might be just D8. But regardless, it's not much different. It might be slightly better because I can't remember right now if they add their modifier or not. It's just D8 plus your strength modifier, and 18th level it's 2D8. So it's not that big of a deal. It does bludgeoning. It's strength based throwing weapon. And it makes sense. You can just like kind of throw, like rocks at them and everything. And I added this when I was transferring it over, because this is something that we encountered uh in our playtest actually. Kind of left it vague um originally because we just had it, you can throw a rock and then your opponent. Kind of like giants. It was kind of like the giant thing, basically. You can just throw a rock, and we kept on encountering, well, like where are you gonna get the rock? And like, oh well, I just grab it from the ground, type of thing. And then I think it got to the point where the GM's like, all right, you can just like conjure it in your hand or something. So I just added that you can conjure a rock in your hand. The idea is that you can kind of bring in like debris, or like the dust or debris or rocks or whatever around you, and just kind of form a big enough rock you can throw at people. That's kind of the idea is, um, again, not that big of a deal. Uh, Roots of the Mountain. Um, you can basically become like really hard to move, kind of like the mountain. Um, you have advantage against things that try to move you against your will, as long as you're touching the ground. And additionally, if you haven't moved that turn, you have advantage on strength and constitution saving throws. Because so the idea is that you kind of your connection to the earth kind of grows when you're moving still, because you kind of like immolate like the mountain type of thing. That's kind of the idea. You kind of like become like the roots of a mountain, very firm and steady. So it's kind of the idea behind it. Um, uh, in our play test, this hasn't come up very much, but it's nice. It's one of those things where it's nice to have type of thing. Um, the strength and advantage on strength and constitution saving throws could be kind of nice to have if you haven't moved, but you you're not gonna be standing still that much, I think. Um, 15, you get Stone's Fury. Uh, you get at 50, like I said, you get at 15, and you get two. You get two effects from this. One, you can form small or like medium sized rocks to float around you, um, or objects. You can just kind of float around you. It can give you cover, 3/4 cover, or half cover. If there's only you get three of them, you get all three, you get 3/4. You have one, you have half cover. Um, and as a bonus action, you can kind of fling the rock or the stone at a target within 60 feet. Um, if it hits, it does 3d10 bludgeoning damage, and they're knocked backwards 5 feet. Um, kind of nice little thing, little extra bonus damage. This one I personally enjoy because it allows very creative thinking. You can reshape the terrain, um, like dirt, sand, clay, stone, in a 30-foot square within 120 feet in any manner you choose. Erect walls, dig a trench, create pillars, create difficult terrain, or any such structure up to 20 feet above or below the ground. Um, so meaning like you can create a wall or dig a hole 20, up to 20 feet. Um, you can, which will take shape instantly. If a creature is struck with violently by a violent shape, if you choose a spike, for example, the man must make a dexterity saving throw or take 10d bludgeoning or piercing. It like depends on the form. Um, or half as much on a success. You can kind of, this is, like I said, this is my personal favorite. It allows you very good creativity. I know mine, like my character created a ramp, and then he had a magic. For example, he made a ramp that he can use. He used to run up and then jump over at the top of a big enemy, and then he had a magic that like doubled his weight, and he came down hard on that enemy. That it allows very fun creativity. Um, you use it once per short or long rest. Um, kind of fun ability. The last one is called Avatar of Earth. You kind of become an Earth elemental. You get +2 AC. You can burrow. You get a burrow equal to your walking speed, and it doesn't disturb um any. It won't disturb anything. Does not disturb any unworked stone or earth. So if it's unworked, you can just like kind of meld through it. Kind of like earth elementals. Um, and you get Tremor. So you kind of become an earth elemental. Um, kind of, you become intertwined with elemental earth, granting you the following properties. You become, like I said, you become an earth elemental. Kind of a fun little bonus, just a passive little thing. Um, to round things up. I think it's a pretty solid one. I don't think it's too crazy. Like I said, you let me know what you think. It'll be in the description below. And that's it. Bye-bye.